Hi, everyone. It's Robyn. I want to introduce two of my good design friends. You will often see three designers gathered this closely and liking one another and having fun. So it's going to be a great podcast today. I have these fabulous girls on here, and we're going to start. Marsha is going to tell you her name, the name of her firm, and why she called it that.
Good morning. I'm Marsha Faulkner, and the name of my studio is Studio M Interior Design. And I named my firm Studio M because I was hoping to make it more collaborative with the intent someday of either selling the business or passing it along. And I just didn't want my name to be in the title. So we're on our, I think, 14th year now, and it hasn't gone that way yet, but we're trucking along, and I still have hopes for that for the future. So that's how I ended up with that name.
She is obviously a great forward thinker, because if you've ever sold a business that is your name, you're done. You're just done, So
it adds a level.
It does add
a
a
level.
Yeah. Lisa, tell us about.
Hi, I'm Lisa Gielincki, and my firm is Lisa Gielincki Interior Design. And unlike Marsha, and I was starting out my business in my home as a small little designer, I named it my name because that seems simple. So now that I'm a much bigger firm and have been in business 22 years, I am now this year secret. I'm going to let you guys know first. We are rebranding into the LG Interior Design Collective. So it'll be a collection of interior designers, like Marsha said, that are talented. And two of my staff hopefully will be stepping up a little bit more, and I will be helping and advising and doing a little bit less design, more travel.
That's pretty fabulous. Yeah. So as you can see, these two have mentored me, and because I'll tell you why it's Robyn Branch Design. It's because the SBA told me that after I had two other names and I was about to lose my you-know-what in business. I was retail. I started in retail. It's what I love. I'm a retail girl, but I could not make it work. And I was doing all of this design business without getting paid for it. And she said, why are you doing this? Here's your target market. Here's who you're working with. So I really credit Tracy at my local SBA, and she's retired since, but she laid it out for me. And that's when I started in the design business. Met Lisa first time after I like weaseled my way into ASID, slid in sideways like I usually do. And Lisa, we're in a workshop, and I think we're going, how do we charge? What do we do? How do we make money? Yeah. And we were frantic, and we bought some book. And did you ever read that book?
I did. Actually, I read a lot of business books.
Yeah.
A lot of leadership
and
being a
smart girl.
Book.
Yeah.
Oh, I listen to them on audio.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Like
same thing, I think.
In the car.
Yeah.
On a walk.
Audiobooks have changed.
Trying to fall asleep at night because my brain won't stop. I read a lot. Listen to a lot of books.
Yeah. And so this is the journey. So all the young designers out there, you're all excited about your branding, your Instagram, all this. Think it through and get some help, because later on you may have to rebrand 1, 2, 3 times.
Yeah. I mean, who would have imagined?
Yeah. You just don't know which way the world's going to go. And design does this all of the time. We're natured that way. We kind of do that naturally, and we bring it upon ourselves in business, I think, when we do that. So I did a little script because these two are always on it, and I'm just not really. So I did a script, and if you want to talk about something, just say, I want to talk about this, and we'll interject and interrupt. John, my producer, is back there to, cut us off or direct us or fix whatever it is we do wrong. I wanted to ask you, what is the most important quality that you think you share with your clients? I know for me, it's a sense of pride. And I don't mean like prideful, I mean happy, like what we've done, outcome, just how they feel about their home. And it can be an idea, a sense, a feel, anything you see on their face, or what is it for you is kind of like the ding ding at the end. I did it. What makes you happy, Lisa?
I would say gratitude. That's kind of how I have looked at all of this business, all of this. I mean, it's always great at the end of the project when you can see how excited the client is and how grateful they are that they get to live in that house. And how happy they are. But I think during the process, it can get really down and dirty in the building construction process. And I think reminding them of how beautiful it's going to be and how lucky they are that they're going to get to live on this beautiful piece of property, and how grateful we are to get to work with them, and how, it just is so unnerving to me when there's someone that gets unhappy about making some kind of selection on a $2 million home. And you're like, people would die to live in this home. It's so beautiful. And so you have to kind of bring them back around to that gratitude, because I think it's easy to forget that when you're in the weeds. So I would say gratitude.
That's wonderful. Marsha, what's yours?
I mean, Robyn, that's a great question. And I have been thinking about my answer to that question. And I don't know if I can answer it exactly the same way Lisa did. But for me, what I want to come out of the collaboration is just that. I want a collaboration. I want the best clients I have and the best jobs that I have are when we feel like we're together. We're a team. We're in this together. I am their advocate. We go through the down and dirty, because it gets down and dirty sometimes, and we have to have some tough conversations, and you'll just hit bumps in the road on the path. And I just want them to always feel like I've got their back and we're in this together. And at the end, our goal is the same, to make them a beautiful home or a beautiful office that they are going to just be thrilled to be in and occupy as they move forward in time. And hopefully we become friends. So that happens.
Yeah,
With the best of my clients. We become friends at the end. So
yeah, that is a tribute, I think. And it is true. Occasionally there's one that you don't really want to hang out with, but it's rare, I think, because when you're of service,
right,
you are, you're up in their business, what kind of sheets they like to sleep
What
on.
side the CPAP machine goes on.
Exactly. Or they got to get a bidet or not.
Yeah. I have a lot of
every
personal
private detail, every private detail. And the more forthcoming they are with that, the more vulnerable they are. I want them to feel protected when they disclose that information, because it's hard sometimes.
It is. Yeah, it is. And as we age, which, we all do, we don't like to hear that.
Right.
You want to point out, let's put some grab bars in here. Let's make this
at least blocking for the guests.
Yeah, at least
blocking for the future.
And,
that you're going to need these if you stay here.
I had to block one time without my client knowing. She said, fine, but I don't want to know about it. So I had to call the builder and say, I'm coming over. We're going to block the walls, but you got to cover them up quickly. And, you just, nobody wants to admit it, but you have to plan for those things, and you have to guide them into that. And
it's a good point, because a lot of what we do is think ahead for them. Yeah. It's like, okay, who's staying in this guest room? Oh, my parents. Okay, well, how about we put a really pretty small scale tile with a lot of grout that's going to be slip resistant, but it's really pretty, and they won't even notice that we put all the slip resistant tile in there. So we're trying to think about ways that they use their house that they haven't even thought of, or things they haven't even thought of. That's our job.
Yeah, it is. And it is a job, because it is you gently pull people to where you need them to be, and then ask them to pay for it, so there's a lot to that side too. It takes a village. I have a question that kind of leads into that money thing. So I want a one-word shareable for young designers. My word is billing. Billing is really hard for me, because I just want to make it pretty. I just want to have fun, and let's all love everything, make it safe, make it wonderful, blah, blah, blah. And then we get the bill. And I know I did an Instagram post one day, and I was putting this funky wild fur on this dated chair, and I thought, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to love it. This is going to be so fun. The daughter had kind of outgrown her room and was married, and now she's bringing a husband back, and we had to make it look like a guest room, but still be a beach fun kind of thing. And Ellen, I hope you're listening. Ellen goes, okay, you want, she's like, you want to put this fabric on that? And I said, She said, okay, well, just so you know, that fabric is $500 a yard. So I just grabbed it and threw it out of her hand. Party's over.
Oh.
So that part's hard.
Yeah.
So the
being realistic. Yeah.
It's that upfront conversation. And I know, when do you do it, Marsha? When do you start that conversation?
Through the whole process. I have learned, I was very blessed that, and I spent the first part of my career learning and working under a very established high-end designer. And I saw how she made the cost of things as a part of every conversation, and it demystifies it. So when it's just something you're talking about throughout the whole process, you don't have to come down to one pivotal moment where you've hung your dreams on a piece of fabric or a tile, and all of a sudden the price comes back and it's $100,000. You've talked about it through the whole process, and you've kind of pointed out this is more expensive than this, and this will be a cost savings, but will be just as pretty. But here, I think you need to spend. So we just try to incorporate costs of goods and services throughout the entire process, just to, that
And it's all about the right, it's about the
transparency.
right thing too. It's not always about the most
Right.
expensive thing.
Right.
And I think a good designer can take something that's very inexpensive and put it next to something with an expensive pillow
Right.
and then a medium price lamp. And so
make it
it's
all
the
look
mix
fabulous.
that we are able to create. So it's kind of like if you had fake diamonds on, but then your ring was real, everyone assumes everything's real. So it's like kind of
They
So
are,
if-
and they're
So,
fabulous.
yeah. So if you can mix it, then I think that the client, no one knows, and it looks the whole aesthetic done well can look really well. And that's the benefit of a designer, is how our
I was gonna
ability to
say,
mix
that's
and
why
match.
you hire a designer.
That's our genius.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of years honing that skill. So, and it takes an eye. It really
Uh-huh.
does. You can't, it doesn't just happen overnight. So,
And I think some people are born with that eye, and I think their clients that have the eye, they just don't know, and that honing comes into play, and that experience and those years. You don't just pay a designer for their eye; you pay a designer for the resources,
the whole body.
Yeah, exactly.
Their
Every
intellectual property.
Their soul, our heart. I love it. Yeah,
But
exactly.
I would say too, I think more people need to trust us and trust that we have an ability to see this room complete in our heads.
Yeah.
So sometimes when there's 4 different fabrics and this client's standing there like, is that all going to go together? It's a part of our job is to explain it, but it's also the client's job. You saw our portfolios, you've talked to us, we've talked about what you want. Trust the process, trust us to do right by you.
Yeah. And we're all
It turns out better.
Yeah, we're all high-end designers, and most of our clients are successful, intelligent. And a lot of people, if you're successful at one thing, you kind of think you're going to be good at everything. I know I am not. That's why I surround myself with brilliant people and people that I can go to my ass. And part of that, though, is letting people do what they're good at.
Their area of brilliance.
And that's a really smart client when they realize that their designer knows what the heck he or she is doing, and they can step back and trust that process, let it happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So
It's a process.
it sure is. It can be years sometimes, but it can also be glorious, and it can be
It's magic.
especially, little ups and downs, like you said, but yeah, the magic is nice. It's worth it, I think. So this is an easy one. This is so we can all take a breath. What's your favorite room to design, Lisa?
The next one.
That.
So I was going to say.
Well, we've worked together in the same we've shared office space. And how long has it been? 20 years?
Yeah.
Maybe
14, 15.
14, 15 years. Okay. 14, 15 years. So it would make sense that we would have the same answer.
They're twinning. I picked living room just because
you're so pragmatic. So
but
I'll come up with a room. Let me think about
I'm
it.
old, and I want a place to put my Christmas tree.
Really like kitchen.
Well, I was
I
just going to say,
you're so detailed in your kitchen.
I'm going to tell you why. I think my strength is interior architectural detailing. I love to do that. And you get to do a lot of that in kitchens. If it's a paneled room, like a study, anything that's got a lot of interior architecture, ceilings, walls, moldings, trims, doors, windows. I love all of that.
I love walking by and seeing her tissue over the thing, and she's sketching these beautiful kitchens with these gorgeous cabinet details and things like that. So it's really fun. Yeah.
Take a shot and send it to me.
I did a powder room elevation the other day, and it did not look quite as pretty. It was nice, but it got the message across.
And I'm more, and this is what happens with designers. We're all like, if you took us to lunch, we'd all get the same sandwich, but we get it 3 different ways. And I'm more of a finished person. I'm that detail at the end. I roll in with the accessories and little layers, and that's where I'm good.
We could be the perfect
And
combo.
we really
I was
could.
gonna say,
We could
I-
Charlie's Angels of design, architecture part,
middle
end. There we go. We got it.
the trifecta.
I love
Yeah.
doing pillows.
That could
Marsha's
be
like,
fun.
I'm
So
not, fabric is
I
something
love fabric.
Yeah.
So that we would
I
be
do
the
like accessorizing though, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
yeah, you're good at that. I love it when she fixes the office.
Well,
So
and you're
that's
great with vintage and
I do love vintage.
yeah, I love
mixing
vintage
that
too, but
Mhm.
I rarely have a client that appreciates it.
Yeah, it's coming
I
back.
sort of
Hang in
slide
there.
it in without.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
there.
you'll start seeing a lot like First Dibs
Coming
and
back.
I hope.
Cherish and all of those have really made it more
Yeah,
mainstream.
we're on Cherish, and we actually put new merch on there too, like the site I
A lot
told
of
you
people
about
do.
B&M.
Yes, yeah.
And they will accept some of it, and some of it they won't. It has
Right.
to be, a certain
Right.
ilk
Gotta
for
write
them
that
to
down.
take it. And B&M was such a great. Thank you, Bill Endersky. It was such a great site, and it's really
anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should
bring it back.
I think we should. But it brought in so many high profile designers that allowed me to learn from them as they were buying from me,
Mhm.
buying those, bootleg pieces
Yeah.
that we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier that you're not supposed to have, that you
Right.
find and you just pay whatever they ask because
Pay whatever they ask.
you know it's
Buy
not
it, don't
around.
pass it up.
Yeah,
That is my new rule. Is
Yeah.
not
Well, and buy it when you see it.
when
Yes.
you see it, don't
Yeah.
leave it sitting on the shelf if you see it and you love
Yeah.
it. Pay what they're asking
It'll
and
be
take
gone.
that thing home.
Yeah.
Because it'll be gone and
That's
you will
true.
think about it for the rest of your life and have regrets.
Yeah,
Been there.
A Monet line drawing.
Oh.
It was a practice drawing. It was
That's
not.
painful.
It was a practice of this.
So what?
Yeah,
Oh.
ex-husband. Long story. Anyway,
Never again.
yeah, I've got 3 or 4 of those, but you will regret it. See,
You will
She's
regret
telling you the truth.
passing up the find. Don't pass
Yeah.
up the find.
Yeah. Okay. So, and when you get a client that has something like that,
Oh, so exciting.
so
exciting.
she's like, okay, the whole room's going to be.
Yeah, I love it. We have one lately that said they wanted an Eames chair.
Love that.
And then one that wants the Saarinen dining table because they had
Oh.
one as a kid and they want to have another one for kids and grandkids.
nostalgia
to come to.
too.
Yeah, it was
That's
pretty
so
cool. And we're like,
That's
okay, we're going to put that in the budget.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, because we're going to pay for
Yeah,
that.
you're going to need
Yeah.
to understand that that's going to raise the budget a bit,
Yeah.
but it's so
okay.
worth
It's a
it.
statement piece.
Well, it's like buying fine art, original art over, I mean, we've got
Yes.
art companies. I love them. They're great. You can go to them. You can buy original art there or whatever. And you have choices on sizes, it's all nice, but there's nothing that beats original art. Nothing. So I know that I have spent years collecting art. And when I moved, I downsized and I got rid of art. I called the family, and it was really, because my child said this one time and I realized, oh, I thought he was a great Renaissance man, but it's only the art that has moved from house to house with him. And so that feels like home to him. So
Oh,
he grew up appreciating art because of that.
that's cool.
But it was great
great.
because, my nephew said, oh, I want the storm, I want the hurricane. And my child said, I want Love Beach. And my niece said, I want blah, 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 blah. And I want the red horse. And and it was so great because they had been in my home all these years and they'd seen these pieces that they loved. And I think it's emotion. It's better than a chocolate layer cake or something, it's just good stuff. So spend the money on the art too. It's sometimes the last thing that people buy.
Right. Or an up and coming artist could be really affordable.
Yeah.
If you're starting your collection.
Yeah.
Places.
Yeah. There's so many talented up and coming artists
There
that I
are.
think are really worth purchasing and
Yeah.
having.
And I've never lost money on art. Never.
Yeah.
Ever in my life. I've always made money. So there you go. Okay. We're going to switch gears and go to our ASID question. And I'm about to get a little more involved with ASID because when I heard about it, I had so many designer friends say, oh, honey, no, they will not accept you. They are very exclusive. You will not like those women.
The old ASID.
I do.
Yeah.
I agree. And I was like, I don't care. I need this. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I need it. So I slid in sideways again and did like I did in ballet class. I got behind the best person in class. I'm a late bloomer. I don't start anything until I'm too old to do it. And I had the best time. I mean, I just had the best time. I think the first one, I was sitting at the table with you and John McClain, and we
That
were
was
all so
fun.
rowdy. We
Yeah.
just had a
What did they say?
blast.
Sit by someone that makes you know who you shouldn't sit by in a presentation that makes
Yeah.
you laugh so much. It's
Yeah.
like we're
We
going to get scolded. We
we
really
all
were.
won an award, and none of us knew because we were busy talking and laughing.
Yeah. And then our table looked like this big collection of it was a little
Beautiful.
gaudy. Yeah. We were
Yeah.
like it was fun.
It
a
was.
fun
It
night.
was a
Seems
fun
to be
night.
a little pattern of yours because I was with you down in Fort Lauderdale recently, and you swept the
Marsha.
house. You
Marsha.
swept the house.
I did
How
more
many did you
entries
win?
is all I did.
20?
No. I think
15?
Gloria
You
and I were talking. I think Gloria and I both won 10. I'm not sure. But I mean,
no.
I did more
She
entries. I
kept
did
getting
more entries.
Robyn Branch. She
Where
was
were you?
revolving from her table.
Oh, yeah.
Florida Design Magazine.
That's
We
nice.
love
Design
Florida
magazine.
Yeah.
Design.
Yeah.
We do. Everybody loves
And it
that
would
magazine.
revolve. You would just had a beat and a path.
That's
Table,
awesome.
Podium.
It was
table,
fun. Though.
Podium.
It was fun. And I got to sit at the table. You know, we had a
Yes.
great table.
You did.
Got to sit there with the publisher and my good friend Gerald and Evie. And it was just it was a great night. I know. We love Gerald. And we loved you so much. I love you too, Evie, my native tongue woman.
Mhm.
I love Evie. She's got a foul
great.
mouth like me.
I know. I know.
But anyway, so my question about ASID is how do you feel about it? Because when I joined, everybody, I don't know if it's just our chapter, I've been told it's the Florida North chapter. They were so inclusive. There was not one person that was snotty to me or like blew me off or anything. And I got to sit next to Ward Laracy and laugh
Love him. He
my
is
ass off all
a
night.
legend.
He's
The
like-
legend.
We
the
love
man,
Ward.
the legend. Yeah.
Ward.
We do. We do. So, you want to-
Okay, sure. I would say that I did not have that exact same experience. I was younger. This had to be probably 20 years ago. I went in and I felt that it wasn't as inclusive. I felt that
I've heard that.
I felt that it wasn't as inclusive. I felt like my time was really precious. I had 2 young children and I was running a business. And to me, it felt like it wasn't the best use of my time. I wasn't going to get clients from it. I was away from my family. If I went there and then no one talked to me or wasn't friendly, and I was young, and so I felt like it wasn't the best use of my time. So I belonged and joined because I think as a whole, ASID, like what they do for legislation, for our design licenses, what they do, the CEU classes, having that accreditation is important. So I obviously kept up with all of that, but I didn't go to as many things. But now that my kids are older and out of the house, and people like Robyn and other fun people are going, it is a lot more fun to go. I have not been in the leadership roles at all in ASID, which I think Marsha is going to speak to some, but I do think that it's what you make it. And so having you as the upcoming president is going to really help a lot. I'm excited.
Holy.
And I'm going to be there to support you.
Heard it here first. Congratulations, madam.
Yeah. So I'm going to be here to support Robyn.
Thank
So I
you.
think I'm going to give it another try. So that's
Well,
how I feel.
Well, I am, first of all, I'm not good at committees or meetings, so we'll see how all this goes. But it felt like for me, I'd been asked before and, they were down to nobody. So they asked me and, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I'm an associate member and, they changed that I guess they changed it with ASID. They voted that is okay because there are a lot of us that are associate members and that means we're not licensed. That means we haven't done the time or we haven't, which I've done the time. I just have never sat for the test.
Well,
First of all,
good
I was gonna say,
education
there's
too.
there's
I
a
don't
lot of
think-
people who choose not to get
Yeah.
licensed, and that's
Yeah.
a whole
that
other conversation.
Right. You're more at risk if you're
Yeah.
licensed because you have to uphold all these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So someone that's not
a
licensed,
lot.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. But I would say you can make it more inclusive and you can make
Yeah.
it more welcoming with your Southern charm. And I think you would get more people. I think, Marsha's going to speak more to the sensibility of like
Past.
running it like a business. like running it like a
Yeah.
business. So I'll let
Yeah. And I think mentoring is real important. And I think that's something that
I
we
definitely
really
have done
need
that.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed that, sitting in on the student projects, and I really enjoyed that part, because you don't get that experience until you get that experience. You have to get in there and actually do it, because you just don't know.
Showing your portfolio is like someone looking inside you.
Yeah.
It's very stressful.
It is. It's very. Marsha is our expert about
No,
this,
I mean,
because
I
she
don't know
is
about
past
that.
president, and you've done it
I
all,
was.
and you were in there in the trenches.
I was
when
in the
things
trenches.
were going sideways.
I was.
Yeah.
Now, so my history with ASID started when I was in school. I joined as a student member, graduated, and kept up as an associate member until I got my licensing back in, I think it was 2002, maybe, or 4. I don't even know. Gosh, it's a long time ago. Anyway, then I became a professional member. Then I was asked to join the National Student Council with ASID. So I was on the national council for a while with students. And what I think they do for students is amazing. I think that's one of their strong suits. The mentor program, they do design competitions for students. They just do a lot of student days at colleges. We used to travel around to the different schools, and we were very inclusive. We would invite IIDA and other, groups to join with us. So I thought all of that was great, and I enjoyed my time doing that. After that, I ended up, I think I was treasurer or something first, and then became president-elect, and then became president of our Florida chapter, which is Florida North. And right when that happened, it was when I was starting my business. I was just telling Robyn this when we were waiting for Lisa to get here this morning. That same year.
I wasn't late.
No, you weren't late. Sorry, we were just early. She was getting us Starbucks, which I don't know if I'm allowed to show that cup, but sorry, John. Anyway, so that year we had a couple of professional organizations that decided we needed to be deregulated. And my first whole year of business and first year as chapter president was all about saving our license. So we lobbied, we went to Tallahassee, we did fundraisers, we wrote letters, we made phone calls, we brought the colleges in to speak to Congress. It was a wild year that ultimately ended in our success. We were able to maintain our professional licenses. We did lose our title that year. So what that means to all of you lay people out there is anyone can call themselves an interior designer. So if you are in the market to hire, you need to do a little research and some due diligence and figure out what that really means. And at the end of the day, if you go that way, that's totally fine. Just understand what you're.
There's a lot of good designers that have a lot of experience and do great work.
Absolutely.
But you want to check references for anybody. And do that.
You do.
But
Yeah,
I think particularly for commercial work, you're supposed to have a design license, because we learned a lot of health, safety, welfare, like a lot of things like that. I always reference that fire in New York where there was no back door. And the fire broke out and all those people died in this New York nightclub. And that's probably because someone did the design work that didn't know that they needed a back door.
Codes. I mean, it's a slippery slope to start talking about our license and our codes and what all that means.
Yeah, you'll be bored.
It's boring. It's boring.
Like a slippery bath floor, even. I mean, it's just so much that goes into it. And I know enough to be dangerous, literally. But, I have these two brilliant women that I can ask at any time. I usually partner with an architect.
I was going to say, partner with an architect. It's great.
That
how the
helps
code
me.
is usually inside and out.
Yeah.
I'm married to an architect. He's actually one of his strongest suits is knowing the codes. So I always call him if I have a question.
Yeah.
But I have a long history with ASID. I did sort of take a little bit of a break after my presidency because that was a lot. And I still was trying to start my business. And so I haven't been as active lately. But you asked, I guess, how we feel about it. Today, I will tell you, I think one of the best things that they do is the networking. Yeah. It's the meeting, going to events and meetings and things, and getting to meet other great designers. Like Lisa, I met you at an ASID event.
I don't remember that, but it's been so long.
It's so long. And I did. And I picked her up and I wouldn't let her go. So here we are. And
we did the same thing. And we had too much champagne because of that.
All I remember is your friend got me French fries and I was so grateful.
I think I was so lucky.
I
Surprise
believe that.
enchantment.
It was kind of a cute story. So I had seen a couple of rooms you did at some show houses. I was following her, like tracking along.
Mhm.
We used to do these very fun show houses. That's another story. But every decorator or designer gets a room and you just can do whatever you want with it.
So much fun.
So much fun.
It
So much fun.
is.
So anyway, I was a young designer and I was visiting these show houses because that's how we learn. And I kept I noticed that every time I would go, it's probably 3 years in a row, every time I would go, I go into this one just so cute and well done room. And I would grab the card and it was always Lisa. And I was like, okay. So then we go to an ASID event and I hear she's like, I'm Lisa Galinsky. And she was saying something like, I'm going to meet her before the end of the night. That's my designer.
Yeah.
I got to go meet
That
her.
was such a
So-
compliment.
And
That's how-
it is. It's a huge compliment because I think designers are known as very standoffish, very, ethereal, like I can't be bothered with you kind of people. When in
Some
fact
are.
it's more like they're more introverted.
old-
than they
I
are
think the old
I
school
want
ones-
to talk to that. I want to speak to that for
I
a minute
would love
because
that.
it's come up a couple
Yeah.
of times. And when I was a young designer, I had your experience in ASID. So you come in, and this is maybe to the young designers out there. You come in, you join, you go to these meetings, and maybe not everybody's running over and talking to you. Now, on the flip side of that, looking back that 30 years, I can see that it's not necessarily that they're standoffish or rude or they could just be introverted. They could be having a bad day. I know sometimes when I do go to events, I come wheeling in, talk about coming in sideways with my hair on fire because I just came from a meeting.
So
I've got a shovel.
Yeah.
I feel like I just need to be quiet and regroup for the meeting or the lecture or whatever we're going to see. So, I think a lot of interior designers are also introverts.
Or we get tired because it's like all day long. People ask. We answer questions all day long.
Yeah.
It's like, what tile should I pick? What grout color? What light fixture? Do you know what the specs were on that? Can you answer this question? Like literally all we do is answer questions all day long.
So
So you could just have shut down. Like at the end of the day, sometimes I do get, as extroverted as I am, I get tired sometimes.
And now that I'm older and also I'm entering another leadership position in another organization, I am looking at it a little differently. And I'm realizing that as a leader, when you're involved in these events, everybody's looking at you. And so now I'm going to make it my job to talk to the people who maybe aren't getting spoken to. But I just want to encourage, like, if you are a young designer and you are coming to some of these events and you do see us and we're not talking, and walk up, please come and approach us, because I do feel like our industry has also changed. I feel like there's more designers like us who are friendly.
I was going to say that there's like a new wave
There's
of in Jacksonville, particularly, we have changed the narrative and created a very, like, we'll call each other. I'm like, hey, I got your old client in here. What's going on?
Right.
Hey, I need some extra drafting help. Is anyone on your team? Are you slow at all? Could you spare anyone on your team to share with us?
Yeah.
I need some materials. Can I use your design library? Can I, we really are very, at least the culture that we've created really have gotten to where we help each other.
Yeah.
So I think it's a different world out there. We've created that, which I'm proud of. Yeah.
I think relationships are above all foremost and most important, and it gives you the joy in this job. And I think having these two to work with, and other people in ASID and other designers in different parts of the country, because we've all got friends all over that we can reach out to, and having that collaboration. And Lisa and I thought we were going to get to do a collaboration because she's really good at medical. And I know nothing about
Marsha does it too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll make your office your lobby will be gorgeous.
She's smart because she's not licensed. So she says, hey, let's partner and work on this project together.
Awesome.
And I think that's the right way to do it. And I was happy to collaborate. I love collaborating.
Yeah, I do too.
Marsha and I collaborated early on. We collaborated on some projects. They were really busy, and I did some freelance work for a firm she was with when I was starting out. So it worked out really, really well.
Yeah. And if one of us is doing a show house, we could pick up and call and say, hey, I need some vintage pieces. Do you have something really cool? I need some art. Do you have, do you have,
it's a different world.
Want to come do this with me? Or, it's just really, really fun.
And that's a great place to meet.
It is. It is. And I'll even collaborate with a very young designer, because I did a show house in North Carolina, and the top room was UNCG design students. They had not graduated or anything, and I was some weird room down in the bottom. And I was going up the front steps and they were coming down the back steps and we were going to tell one another, you're my favorite room. And it was just the coolest thing. It made me love every one of those kids. I kept up with them. They use my account sometimes.
You're definitely like we were talking about connectors.
Mhm.
You're definitely a connector, like someone that likes to connect people. It's fun when that happens.
Yeah. And and it's fun when you have good people to connect with too.
Yeah.
So
It's a gift.
look at me. Oh, I'm looking at my script. You guys, can y'all think of anything you want to throw in before we move on?
We did skip one question.
Oh, we did.
What's one word that you would share for young designers?
No, well, I said billing. We did.
You said billing. I say listen. I say listen.
Oh, listen.
That's my word for young designers, because if you don't listen to your client, you're going to miss the mark and not create good design. So
that's part of our job.
Shut your mouth and listen. That's my biggest thing.
Excellent advice.
What's your word for young designers?
Listen and billing.
Okay, there you go. It's unanimous.
Listen to your heart when it's time to build too, because you don't want to wait till the end and blow a number up. No, that's not good.
Yeah, that's
Okay. This is a fun part just for everybody listening. What is your best hack? Which I'm not a big hack person.
Can we define hack?
Yeah. It's a word that I'm using. Like I know what I'm talking about.
Tell me what that is.
What is your trick? What is your, hint from Heloise, your Martha Stewart kind of thing? For me, it's Downy wrinkle release.
That is really good on bedding.
The best.
I just used it at install.
You can put it on silk.
I was
linen,
steamy.
drapery,
Didn't touch
everything.
it. The Downy took the wrinkles right out.
Crease release?
Yes.
For linen?
Yeah.
Okay, I love crease release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a good hack.
It's a good
I
hack.
wear it like in the morning. I'm the person that pushes the dryer one more time because I don't want to fold the laundry. And so you can put the sheets on your bed and Downy and spread them and they look like you pressed them and they smell like it and feel like it too.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Oh
Good
gosh.
stuff. My niece gave that to me. She's a product. She reads consumer reports. She researches. We actually have a podcast about that. It's hilarious. We're doing facials and she's following all the directions. Mine's upside down, backwards, and I've still got the wrapping ones.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
that's how I work.
I would say our best hack that I'm so grateful for is our install box. So we got one of those big Hulken bags and we have this huge list and we check it. It's got like batteries, double-sided tape, light bulb, all kinds of extension cords,
everything.
furniture touch-up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got all kinds of.
I think people should have one of those in their home.
I was telling Thea on my team, our junior designer, I was telling her, I was like, I think you could market this and sell this to designers. Like, I literally think you could but then if you send them the list of what it includes, then they could just make their own. So I'm not really sure how you would market it and not have them do it themselves. But
I think they're designers that
it's all
would
in
do it.
separate little plastic things labeled.
Yeah.
I mean, all the felt. I mean, it's anything I need is in there.
Yeah. Cheryl, we could use your tote bags. That would be perfect.
Yeah, this is like that Hulken one that's on wheels that zips at the top.
Yeah, mine gets too heavy sometimes.
It's really heavy. Yeah, but anyway, so I don't know. That's my best install hack.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. And I think people honestly should have that in their home. I think you take better care of your furniture and your fabrics and everything.
Oh, that SpotBot thing.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. The Bissell SpotBot.
Good.
It's like a little handheld. It's like sometimes a pet thing. It's a little handheld cleaner.
Shop bag.
And if something gets on your furniture or rug, just immediately do the hot water and suck it up. You don't need all that soap. Because the soap just attracts more dirt and then the stain gets bigger.
Yeah, and it just the protection.
Yeah, just do the SpotBot. Okay, well there we go. We came up with
Yay.
we came up with three.
I like magic erasers.
I like magic erasers too.
Yeah,
they're pretty fabulous.
Just don't use it on your kid when your kid puts Sharpie on himself. Don't use it on your kid because they will still tease you about it. How they got a chemical burn.
You did that?
I did. It's so embarrassing. I just put it on whatever podcast.
That'll be the next podcast.
Yeah.
I got a few of those. I would say about my child, and I learned this from an older woman who had a child much later in life, and he was the greatest kid. Everybody just loved him, and I'm lucky I have one of those kids. And she said, "Oh yeah, John's done a beautiful job of raising himself." I just thought that was so perfect for me because my child raised me. He came out like a 60-year-old man, talking politics, and he just was always
fortunate.
Yeah,
that's nice.
So let's talk to our listeners a little bit about good business and bad business. For me, my rule is if it feels wrong, it is. And I try and live by that, but then I jump in, I get suckered into things, and I find myself in just, like the shit show. I'm just standing in a pile of, what, and I'm like, when will I learn? So when you have that bad business moment, how do you get yourself back to the good business?
I have,
It's hard.
well, you can have hard down days. I actually have a gratitude folder where anyone that's written me a nice note, an employee, a client, a sub,
He does.
and I pull it out when I'm ready to cry, and I pull it out and I remind myself of all the good things I've done.
Good.
So that helps me a lot.
My sweetie.
I also think you always act professional, no matter what. Like I've had
Don't
clients
burn the bridge.
Yeah, I've had clients yelling at their builders in front of me. I've had so many different situations, and I always try to handle it like and it takes a lot sometimes. You just have to take a deep breath. But I think if you can rise above it, it will blow over and you will always not look bad. Like if you buy into it and get into the frenzy and the panic.
We're kind of moderators. So you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah. Like when somebody's complaining about their builder, I mean, you and I have talked about this a lot. If they're complaining about their builder to you and you can see the builder side and the client side, you have to walk the line in the middle of professionalism. You work as a team. You don't throw the team under the bus.
No.
So I pride myself in trying to be a team player. I mean, there are some people that are really difficult to be a team player with. But
lately it's worse than ever.
I agree.
I just had
a country. It's just it's hard right now. Everybody,
we have a damn it doll. One of those damn it dolls.
We have a little
Actually, no, I'm kidding. We have each other. We really have each other. And so
I was gonna say, I turn to my friends. It depends, I guess, on the situation. So if it's a bad business day, which is what you asked about, and I'm feeling down or beat up or whatever I do, I turn to Lisa a lot. I've got other good friends that I'll talk to. I like to look at my portfolio in those times just to remember, like, oh yeah, that's right, I did do that.
And they still
fun. And they were great, and it's beautiful. So I take a little walk down memory lane like you do. It's an interesting thing.
It's kind of like siblings. Like no one ever will grow up in the household that you grew up in and have the same parents you have the experience. And it's the same thing with designers. Like no other profession can understand truly what we go through and what we do and how the business is. So we are really bonded in a way that we need to support each other because no one else really gets it.
Right. I think there are a lot of people right now, like I've noticed builders all have designers, and some of them are very legitimate and some of them are not. And it's evident by the work because their work is just a carbon copy over and over and over. And you know it immediately. Mm-hmm. You actually know it before you see the second house, I think. Right. And when you're dealing with that, because builders don't always like designers. Smart builders do. They love a designer because they know all the work that the designer takes away that they don't really want to do.
Yeah.
The time that it takes, they don't want to spend that much time with the client.
Yeah, I built my business on making builders' lives easier. So they wanted their clients to work with us. But a lot of builders have had bad designer experiences.
Yeah.
Like we've had
bad builder experiences.
Oh, yeah. And so it is a relationship.
Right. You're coming into it and you just have to be respectful and listen.
Mm-hmm. And it is hard to be respectful sometimes. You know that they are so jacked up and that they don't care. You've heard them say, I just want to get my check and get out of it.
I mean, talk about bad business practices. There are some that
it's just beyond.
We've seen a lot of things.
We have.
And we are our client's advocate. Like I like to be paid by the client so that no matter what, I can look whoever that is that I'm confronting and say, I was hired by the client. I am their advocate. That is my responsibility. Yeah. I have to do this.
Yeah. Agreed. Mm-hmm. So what is your funniest, I could say what's your worst client moment, but we're just going to bury that, leave that. Yeah. What is your funniest client moment? I mean, I have so many I can't even talk about, but what kind of pops in your head? And you may remember another. I'll start with mine, just to kind of get you guys going. But I love it when my clients imitate me. They do, like they walk and they do imitations. My latest one was my client said, I think I want new countertops. And I went, And I turned to her and I said, do you really want to put new countertops on these cabinets? Like, these are shit cabinets. We can't spend money on these. We got to rip out the whole kitchen. Yeah. So she fell in the kitchen floor laughing at me. She said, okay, no, I don't.
No,
Let's
I
get new
don't.
cabinets. So, excuse me. So that's what we did. And then I had a builder who was old school up in North Carolina. He was hilarious. And my client wanted to keep a rug for a very sentimental reason. And he said they were rolling the rug up during the install. I said, no, that stays. And he went, you're going to put all that on this? And she was in the next room. She could hear. And I said, yeah, she wants to keep the rug. And he said, well, that's going to look like Fido's ass. So we grabbed hold of that. We latched onto that one for a long time. And she walked out. She said, I think I need it.
Yeah. Too bad I listen to
I don't know
you.
Fido,
I'll listen to the builders like
Crunchy
opinion, but
builders,
yeah.
but anyway,
I don't
it
know
was-
Fido, but I don't want that rug.
I don't want Fido's ass on my floor. But anyway, I just have like such hilarious, fun stories, and I just relive them. It's kind of like my best business moment, when that fun stuff happens. And I'm sure you have a couple too.
I mean, I don't know if I have like one story like that, but we did a project out of country. I don't want to say where.
Mhm.
And the installation
stories.
we keep saying we need to write a book. So the installation week that the hilarity that ensued that week, my client was there. It was such a comedy of errors, just getting anything done. And I remember just laughing. And there was a lot of wine involved. We needed it.
Exactly.
And then we did get her moved in a few months later. It takes a few months after, somebody moves in to sort of do all of the punch list and get everything perfect. So a few months later, we fly over to go back over there again to photograph, and photography week was just as interesting as install week. And so some of my funniest and favorite memories are from that project.
It's a great project.
It is a great project.
And
my client's amazing, and we've become friends, and we just shared a lot of laughs over all of that.
I did one out of country too, and they are my people. They are my favorite crew, builder. They are my favorite people on earth. And mine was going up the beep, 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 backing up down the hill and taking me up to the third story out over the pool. And that's how we unloaded the container.
Oh, my.
Human strapped across the dressers or whatever was on the container, me and one other guy. And
that's cool.
It was so much fun. There was no OSHA.
Yeah.
No, there's no OSHA in this country.
You just do what you got to do. We were taking photos. I mean, artwork. We had no electricity, no water, no AC. I mean,
same. We had fire that week.
Yeah. Oh,
our container came in on the water, so it was on the water, and we were able to put the containers
on
out
to get it. Probably
we did backstroke, but it came in, and so then it was getting everything up the hill. We had some moments.
It will teach you to appreciate what
we work hard. I don't think people realize how physically hard this job is sometimes. Like you're on your hands and knees. You're vacuuming.
It's not glamorous.
You're
cleaning toilet.
You're like whatever. I mean, we did installs without driveways, so you're mugging through the dirt. I mean, it's a lot. My favorite one is when people surprise me. So we have these older clients that are building a new home, and we're going over their electrical plan. And we're talking about how many cans the architect put in there, and do we need this many or do we not? And we're going through, and they seem so serious. And one of the first things we do is an electrical review of their plan. So we're doing the electrical review, and I was like, I think we need 2 cans in here, not 4. And then I went somewhere else, and I was like, this is 2 cans and 2 cans. And I kept saying 2 cans. And finally, my client looks at me real serious, and he goes, well, you know what that's called? And I said, no. And he said, a parrot configuration. And I was like, a parrot configuration? And I didn't even catch it. And then he finally smirks and goes, yeah, a parrot configuration. And so he totally just made that up. He's like older and serious, but like when they're they seem so serious, but then their intelligence comes out in their humor. And then you just start building that rapport. Like I can joke with you, and then I kind of know how you are, and I can take your jokes. That simpatico with clients is really, I really appreciate and enjoy. And I have a couple of those, like these really serious engineer,
finance.
finance, lawyer people
Yeah.
come in and they like just seem so serious, and then you crack them, and then you can get a joke out of
Yeah.
them or
Yeah.
whatever. So,
And it changes.
but I will like every time now I say toucans, I just giggle, and the people in the meeting are like, "Why is she giggling?" And I have to say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I had this really cute client. And it's really
You should just very seriously, you should say, I'm doing the parrot configuration.
yeah." I mean,
I just was
well, he said it so straight. I was
Now
like,
you know. Now
"Is he
you
an
know.
engineer?" And I like missed that in school. Like I was like, "What is he saying?" And then I finally was like, "I'm so gullible." But anyway.
Well, I am too.
He
Yeah,
is
since we're being
so
serious,
he's
we're trying
that's
to be
just one of many. I can't even remember all of the crack ups he's
That's a
given
good
me,
one.
but that's my favorite thing.
Well, I had a client. She's going to be on podcast, and you'll hear these three women all had very different build experiences and major health things happened during the
that's a shame.
remodel. So it's going to be a really good podcast, but because I know you've had this happen to you because you're in people's lives.
Yeah.
And so she loved everything. She's like, "That's so delicious," and I just love her. She just loves life, and she's done everything. And so I text her, and she texts me back. I said, "What about this?" And she said, "Hate the chair, love you." I said, "I love you too."
Valid. Yeah. Valid.
No problem.
Valid.
Yeah.
You think about it though, we do entire houses. We do like 5,000 square feet of furniture. There's going to be something that they're like,
Something. Yeah. Like, what did she
how
think
that
of
turned
it?
out? And I'm with you. I'm like, get it out. First of all, first rule of design, young designers, if they don't like it, get it the heck out of there.
Yeah. There's a
You do
million
not want to
others.
leave it in there for them to look at
As
and
fast as
and
possible.
chew on. Like
Do
it's
not go.
yeah.
Do not
Dude,
go.
Grapes look yellow, get them out of there.
Yeah.
The chair isn't what they thought. It's not comfortable. Get it out of there. Like
That's
just don't leave anything in there that they don't care for, because that's all they'll fixate on.
Yes.
But I do think customer service is high. We're a luxury business, and we all strive to give exceptional customer service plus hospitality.
Exactly.
Like that extra touch, that extra, you work with us, and if you're sick, we're going to make sure we take care of you. We're going to handle this for you. We're going to be there. We had a
Just
client
let
that
me
was
do
moving
it.
from
Yeah.
Seattle with their two dogs, Bonnie and Clyde, which is just
That's
so
so
adorable. They're these little dogs. So we sent a book that was like all the places that you can stop that are dog friendly, and dog biscuits.
That's so good.
And we just sent that to before their little trip. So, we think of things to make your life better. That's our goal, we all fill our cups by making our clients happy.
We
I
do.
would say.
We do. Yeah, we would not do this if the feeling was not.
That's the joy in it. So we've said a lot about the troubles, but I would say the joy in it is when we can put a whole thing, like we just did an install, and all the kids were running around. "I love this house. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. When can we live here? When can we live here?" And, at the reveal.
Yeah.
So it was really cute. So
That is so fun.
that's a
Well,
joy.
that kind of leads into my last question. Close to left. Maybe we may have one more. You know how that happens. And it's, what does design mean to you? And I don't. It can be a feel, again, a sense, or a thought, or whatever. For me, it's just music. It goes back to my dance background, I think. And for me, it's music. Like when I walk in your beautiful office, I just think, oh God, I could just breathe. I could waltz right down this hall. It just feels like a beautiful waltz to me.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. We've talked a long time.
It's good. I love it.
What does it feel like to you?
For me,
We gotta
design.
wrap it up. Yeah.
Oh, we do.
We
Okay.
talked.
We've
As
talked a
usual.
long time per the norm. It's shocking.
We could talk forever, really.
No, I just, I think when you walk into, we've all been to wonderful restaurants. I think restaurant design has really gotten to be very good.
She's good at it.
Hospitality,
Thank goodness.
will,
Yeah.
and you just walk in, and when something is done well, it's an experience. So it's just from the front door all the way through your entire experience. You feel like you've been somewhere and done something, and you've had a good time before you've ever even sat down at the table. And that cocktail is the best cocktail you've ever had. And a lot of people, if it's done right, you don't even really realize how influential the design can be. But if you go into a space that's not right, something's off, then your whole experience is off. So I just like the harmony.
Yeah.
The harmony that it creates.
I mean, I agree on that. Like, I think we can't control what happens in the outside world, but we can control our environment,
Yeah.
and that can affect our blood pressure, how we feel,
everything.
all the things. I wrote down creativity because I think that I really enjoy being creative to a place where someone comes into someone's office or home, and they see something that they would not have thought of or did not have, but they really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, particularly for us, my firm, it has a lot to do with color, because people are so afraid of color, but then they come in and they love it and they want to know the paint color. But at their own houses, they all just want to paint the walls white. And so I think when we can do color well, it really can
love and
change the
emotion.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, changes the
Yeah.
feeling and stuff like that.
It
So
does. It does. There's so many facets that go into design. It does evoke a lot. And I think the greatest compliment you can have is if someone wants to imitate what you've done, or they walk in that restaurant and they say, "Oh, I should have dressed better because Grace are a little
right. Or their
the
blood
bar."
pressure goes down and they're like, I just want to be here all the time.
Yeah.
It feels so
Or this is
good.
my favorite, or whatever it does. It's good. Yeah, we will end with good feelings. We want to
Yes.
thank you all for listening.
Thanks for
Sorry.
having us.
Yes,
So
thank you
fun.
guys
Thank
for
you.
doing
Yeah,
this.
this
I
is
know
great.
it's a lot. They're busy girls, and
That's okay. We
we've
loved it.
run late. So bye. Mwah, mwah.